So right off the bat, I want to say that I did not like this movie.
Yeah. So I think I liked this movie more than you, but obviously I agree with some points that we've talked with you since leaving the cinema.
Yeah, so we sat through the credits and watched the after credits scene as we do with all Marvel movies, and the first thing that came to mind was the number of script writers this movie had. It was
Yeah.
like four, director included.
I remember like at the middle of the movie I just came closer to your ear and just said it. I think this film has like four or three screenwriters because it seems like that.
Yeah, it feels like it.
And actually, at the end of the end credits, we saw that there were five, including the director, as you mentioned. And that's the thing. That's the thing that you can see that mishmash of ideas. It seems that there were a lot of
Yeah,
cooks in the kitchen.
It's as if each screenwriter was wrestling for his own vision.
Yes.
So the movie feels like one part a dysfunctional family story, one part getting the gang back together and collecting all the other family members, one part sci-fi epic, that's the biggest part, one part murder mystery, we'll get to that in the spoiler section, and one part story about how Earth and humanity is worth saving. I think this was the point that the director herself was trying to push.
Talking about humanity, like even though the characters are not human in the sense of that word, there was no character that we as an audience can project ourselves to that.
I mean, the movie only had two human characters, let's say, which we see for an extended period of time. One was Kumail Nanjiani's valet, Karun, and
Yeah.
the other one was Kit Harington's character.
Yes.
And I think they didn't use them enough. They could have been like the audience's guide throughout the movie to give us enough exposition, even little exposition. We didn't need it, the amount they were giving us at its current version. Because of that, because of the lack of a character the audience can project itself onto, the movie feels extremely long and also extremely short because basically nothing happens.
That's the point that I want to clarify too. Like, there were how many 10 eternal characters, and you kinda by the end of the film you kinda try to remember their names, and there are only 3 or 4 Eternals that I care about personally for me.
Yeah.
And if, for example, there will have been a less number of characters, and from we've seen the other team-up films, Guardians of the Galaxy had 5 characters, Avengers had 6 characters. It doesn't mean that obviously that they should have done that, but the usage of the characters weren't placed to create a very complex story that this film wanted to say. And as you said, this film was how much? 2 hours 37 minutes?
157 minutes. It's
Yeah.
too long and
Yeah.
too short to
Yeah.
develop 10 characters.
That's the thing. It felt like that. Like
It would have worked better in a TV show format if they wanted to make like 10 characters.
Yes. I don't know how much people would think about this, but Eternals would have worked as a TV show, and it shows because through the locations that they go, through a lot of characters that they meet, and actually the present and past timelines, we could have had somewhat similar to the flashback scenes in Arrow TV show. Whenever they talk about in present, we can have the past showing something from their life.
And because there is no actual character development in terms of, I don't know, meaningful conversations or glimpses from each character's past, the main characters just stand around a lot, squinting onto the horizon, like looking cool. I don't know what they were thinking when they did that.
About the standing around, do you remember when I said to you that the trailer shots had a lot of posing? And actually they posed a lot throughout this film.
Yeah,
Like,
each time they defeated a bad guy or just, I don't know, talked even, they would go out and stand in a V position.
we usually call this kind of things between each other as an inside joke as a trailer shots. Usually this shot only exists for trailer. But like in a film, usually they have like 2 or 3. This film had like 7 triangular posing
yeah.
shots.
Each time they talked, did something. I don't know. I don't remember where they ate something and stood in the V circle again. But this and coupled with repeats of the same conversations over and over again, because it's getting the gang back together. They're always every time they pick up a new member and they're saying the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, I remember. What was it? Ajax is dead. So we went through that reaction for 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, and everyone gave basically the same response: shock, awe, and 5 seconds of silence. That's it. So let's talk a little bit about the action in the movie. Okay, a general Marvel formula: we have big CGI monsters and CGI characters just fighting them, throwing them around. At times when it was getting faster and more like snappier, the CGI became very obvious and characters' limbs often would turn into noodles basically.
I'll say one point to that. Actually, I kind of had fun with the action scenes.
I mean, they were shot beautifully, but what happened, Marvel?
Obviously, and I think it shows the director Chloe Zhao. She, in one of her interviews, I think she said that this whole film had a big inspiration from Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, and it really shows. Mostly in Icarus's fight scenes when he flies.
I mean, Icarus was just a big Superman reference. They even in the movie they referred to him as Superman. I think.
Actually, they had like a couple of DC references.
Yeah, weirdly enough, they like referenced DC twice. Once in Batman and once in Superman.
That was an interesting.
But at least if they were fighting someone memorable or something memorable, they would have been actually like thought-provoking to watch. Because of a lack of a concrete antagonist. In the movie, the closest thing to an actual villain has no name and gets, spoilers, but unceremoniously killed before the end of the movie.
But he has a name. He's called Crow.
Yeah, we see it in the credits.
No, I've seen it before the film. I've seen it in the action figures that they were selling.
That's not a, let's say, productive model for making a good movie. You need to have a concrete antagonist. Okay. The second antagonist, I don't want to call him an antagonist. He's like the boss of the Eternals. Was named Arishem.
So we're going to spoiler section now.
I want to add one thing.
Okay.
Throughout the movie, there was a severe lack of urgency. The characters are given like a 1 week limit to save the world, obviously, but the time limit or the urgency it's not even felt, and the time limit itself isn't given. Is given in the last quarter of the movie. That's too late.
Okay.
And the plot's urgency or the world-threatening event only is seen in a presentation by Arishem and a small earthquake at the start of the movie.
Your point goes with the thing that we mentioned previously. This film working as a TV show. You could create a 7-episode TV show, each showing the last day that goes
Seven episodes would have been enough, each 40 minutes, and they could even cut down the number of characters to 7, trim the fat, and develop each characters, which...
Let's not forget about this one. Let's talk which characters could have been cut. Not right now, but after
let us enter the spoiler zone. So, Richard Madden's character, Icarus, turns out to be a villain. Surprise, surprise. But his motivations throughout the movie are unclear. Initially, when looking at the trailers, he seemed like he seemed like he was gonna be either a Superman-like character, because obviously he has powers very similar to Superman. He can fly, he can shoot lasers, or a Zod-like character, again referencing the Man of Steel. He was I'm gonna save the world, but I have my own plans. And because of this is again, he fulfills both of these roles somehow in the movie, while simultaneously feeling weaker in both of these versions. He's neither Superman, neither a great Superman, or neither a great Zod. He's a meh character, and the character leaves a lot of questions unanswered. For example, why did he leave Cersei? Because Ajax said it? I don't know. I don't even remember. They didn't elaborate on that.
No, I think it was just that they implied that Ajax has been erasing memories to all Eternals besides Ikaris. So I think the plot wanted us to care about his choices that he have done, because as if he already cared about his eternal family and he didn't want them to experience what he already experienced with that knowledge.
Yeah, but they didn't mention that. But I thought they were gonna do something like this, because each Eternals, when they're sent into a planet, their memories get erased, blah blah blah, because so they won't have like ethical repercussions for their actions. Only the Prime Eternal, their mother figure, Salma Hayek's character, Ajax, doesn't get her memories like erased. But I thought Richard Madden's character Ikaris will also have his memories erased. Like he would be a contingency in case Ajax goes nuts or something. But they don't imply that. It's as if we're looking at the trailer. It's edited in a way to show that Ikaris and Cersei's love story will be a story that transcends space and time. Like that, they show a fast cut of their romance throughout
they're
the ages.
in Mesopotamia, then they're in India getting married, then they're in present time.
In reality, in the movie, that was like only a 3-minute scene or something. In like, I don't know.
And, that's the thing. Like, personally, for me, nothing personal to the actors, but in my opinion, Ikaris's and Cersei's chemistry wasn't well established. Like, as if obviously in the first minutes of the film, those are the first two people that we're introduced to. They have the first conversations between each other,
which is different from the one in the trailer.
Yeah, obviously they are green screen. They changed the Earth into something different, I guess. But that's the thing. Like the chemistry in some of the actors don't work well. And they did not have, in my opinion, they did not have what they were going for, that the dysfunctional family part you mentioned. Because personally, from the film's trailers and also from a couple of released screenshots, it was obvious that Cersei was with Kit Harington's character. In my opinion, they had more chemistry than Ikaris and Cersei. Obviously, it doesn't mean that that chemistry was one of the best chemistries that we've seen throughout all the comic book films, but it was better than the Ikaris one.
Yeah, I mean, all of the performances in the movie were kind of mixed. On one hand, you have Druig, Kingo, Makari, Gilgamesh. These guys were good. But most others don't get enough screen time, or don't get enough development, or just have bad acting or flat acting. They don't have lines that show their motivations. Some characters have really good chemistry, and some don't even have chemistry. They don't even have scenes. I believe I hadn't seen like Kingo or Gilgamesh talk throughout the movie, or Makari and Gilgamesh talk. I mean, not talk. Makari's character is like deaf, I think.
Let me say this. I think this is like an opposite thing for your thought. I think the actors did their job great, but they did their job great with the materials that they were given for. For example, Angelina Jolie.
We wouldn't know, because there's a whole lot of scenes cut from
probably and from the trailers.
Even from the trailers, we see like 3 or 4 scenes that were cut. Maybe they were given enough character. We don't know. The final cut of the movie doesn't have enough of, it doesn't create emotional attachment to these characters.
Do you think there will be a Chloe Zhao cut?
I don't think so.
Like a 4-hour, 5-hour.
I mean, with 4 screenwriters, should each of them get a cut, or should only Chloe Zhao get a cut?
She's a director.
Yeah.
Not about.
And because of the flat acting, each line uttered by these characters create like a fake feeling of epicness and grandeur, with characters telling us about the celestials, deviants, eternals, but showing them all sparingly. I mean, there's a philosophy in books and in movies to show, not tell, and this movie does the opposite. It just tells. It shows nothing, basically.
Yeah, the idea of fake feeling of epicness. I'll agree on that because from the first trailer that I remember, we got introduced to the Eternals. Like, obviously, I have read it in comic books, but as the screen Eternals, we've introduced to in their domo, their flying ship, and they're helping people, and the soundtrack goes well. Lots of cutscenes.
Movies started really good, like in the past, and I thought we were gonna see the 7,000-year journey of these Eternals, but yeah.
Apparently no. The past scenes have been sprinkled throughout.
Yeah. Then again, that contributes to that whole fake feeling of epicness I was talking about.
One thing about the fake feeling of epicness. Let me go into the point of the soundtrack. Like we.
Yeah, I mean, the soundtrack even itself mirrors the fake feeling, because it builds up this epicness, and like the movie, it's a mishmash of like epic feelings, string sounds and things, but again it feels like, except the end, like you said. Throughout the movie, the let's say main theme of the movie is meandering. It tries to get up, but that can't. I don't know. It's too generic, I think.
But let me ask you this: do you remember their main theme?
No.
I remember because talking about the end soundtrack. Yeah, we agreed upon that. Even though it has been composed by Ramin Djawadi.
Yeah, one of the sins of this movie, it breaks Ramin Djawadi's
kill streak.
Kill streak, yeah.
Like he did Game of Thrones soundtrack, even though obviously the last season, we shouldn't talk about those.
Westworld, I believe.
Yeah, Westworld. Like he also started with Marvel, like with the Iron Man score. But this one, the soundtrack felt that it didn't do justice to the film itself, and as the film itself didn't do justice to the soundtrack itself. Like there's one motif, dum da-dum, dum da-dum, bum ba-dum, and it goes on and on. You hear it throughout the whole fight scenes. But one thing to say, the end song that you said, like when they did the Unimind thing, that is a memorable part. Like personally for me, I literally looked for it. I remember the strings, and actually that is like one of the memorable parts of the soundtrack. Like the whole film should have had that soundtrack's feeling throughout the whole film.
I mean, throughout the movie, mirroring the soundtrack, there is an aura, a feeling of cheesiness. Like I said that this is one of the most least human Marvel movies. I mean, on account of there not being a lot of human characters, but there are only occasional moments of clever puns or situational comedy that break the monotonous slog of watching this movie, especially in the form of Kingo's valet Karun. Props to Harish Patel. He was really nice in this movie. He was mirroring the audience. The thing that Kit Harington's character unfortunately couldn't do. He was always looking forward to the next action scene, always camera in hand. I really enjoyed this performance.
So, what do you think? Have Marvel's pun game improved? Wittiness joke, because that's the thing.
Mean, it's getting kind of stale right now. Yeah, it's getting kind of stale.
That's the thing.
I said this is the Marvel at its cheesiest. This was awful.
Like for me, the most cheesiest was Age of Ultron. Like it was pun joke 1 minute at a time. Yeah. But this one, I think, like a couple of laughs. It got a couple of laughs. It didn't got a lot of laughs from the cinema that we went to on premiere day. A lot of laughs got from the the IKEA joke, like I kind of punched the table. So I think it works, but the great part of the film, as you mentioned, was Kumail Nanjiani's character Kingo. Like they had a very great advantage of casting a comedian in this role.
He was the one of the characters that was given a lot of screen time. He had the opportunity to shine, I think.
But that's the thing. He also didn't get a lot of screen time, in my opinion, because he stayed out from the last battle.
He didn't join the last battle. That was kind of weird too, because there was a feeling that he was gonna return, as if his scenes were cut again.
His powers. No, I don't think
because they reunited at the end and talked as if it was nothing, as if he was supposed to be there.
But
and I believe in the trailer shots, the last scene with the volcano had Kumail Nanjiani in it.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think the idea was to show the Kumail Nanjiani's character's Kingo's thought process when he said that to Ikari's boss, "I will follow you to anywhere," and after that they learned that what has been happening throughout the plot points, and he just said that I don't want to fight my family, but I'm not against the things that Arishem is doing. That this whole thing, this whole plot point, is one of the examples how Eternals could have been.
Yeah. He was the character with the most unique point. Everyone just got separated into Team Icaris or Team Cersei, and he was the guy that said, "Man, this ain't working for me," and just left them went home.
This point shows that this whole film has like really great points to make, but it goes on and on. But I remember.
But you can't exactly call this movie boring.
No, it's not.
There's always something new to behold, but none of it is particularly exciting.
Well, it depends. Like one point, also plot point that I remembered is the Sprite's character. She cannot grow up, and
she's stuck in the body of a 12-year-old.
Yeah, and the first time that we've been introduced to her, she is acting as an illusion of a grown-up woman who hangs out with someone in a bar, but the guy tries to touch her hand,
and he breaks the illusion.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I told to you when after finishing the film and watching the film that this film has positives, this films have negative, but that's the problem. Its negatives close its positive parts.
Yeah, they outweigh them. Yeah, it's sad realization, but at least the movie gets like only occasional bursts of soulfulness.
Yeah, that's the thing. It is there somewhere. Let me say you this. Personally, for me, the weakest Marvel film is Thor: Dark World. I've watched it like 7 or 8 times after I watched it the first time. I will say
that's too much to Dark World.
But it has a couple of parts that are worthy of rewatch. I will say that I will watch Eternals more than this film.
I mean, it has the same like bad points as Eternals, because it too has an unmemorable bad guy.
Yeah.
Some elf guy, I think.
Yeah.
And I think I don't believe it had a lot of cutscenes as it does the Eternals.
Probably.
But it too didn't show all the mechanics between Loki's and his mother relationships. We just had one scene with him in the prison crying or something. Yeah.
But let's go to the one of the crying scenes that I remembered. In Eternals, after Icarus kills Ajax, he throws him into Deviants. He brings her body, no dialogue, nothing.
But by the way, that scene, it was again, but it touched up on the points I said before. When Ajax got thrown off the cliff, again we see very obvious CGI. You can even pinpoint the exact second when the CGI turns into real.
Don't forget the Resident Evil shotgun
reference. Yeah. The moment she falls down, there's a conveniently placed shotgun near her, which she fires but does no damage. I don't know where the shotgun was there even.
I think
it was the minor shotgun, right?
No. It seemed like a reference to Resident Evil.
Yeah, gamey looking thing. Immediately after you fall down, there's a shotgun.
That scene that I was talking about, when Ajax brings, Icarus brings Ajax's body. That scene had a whole different feeling than from the whole
film.
feeling.
It's from another movie.
Yeah, no dialogues. It's just Icarus's actor, Richard Madden, just playing rough scene when he's just disappointed by the thing that he has done. He's just screaming. He's throwing his laser eyes, And that whole scene, personally for me, had a different feeling than whole Eternal film. It was obviously it didn't have that epic grandeur that they were selling to us, but it had that human element, even though that is not Eternal, that the director is known for. And it gave me the feeling that this scene is directed by independent director.
Okay. Let's talk about something more fun. People like to make tier lists of powers, but because there was no understanding of the relative strengths of each character, this led, for me personally, to confusion regarding their roles in the team. So we have both guys that can, one guy that can fly and shoot lasers, and one guy that can fly and only shoot lasers. For me,
but
not in
he's
terms
throwing
of
lasers from his hand. The other one is shooting with his eyes.
Lasers from his hand. Yeah, I mean, even at the start of the movie, they separated the team into the fighter guys, the Angelina
the
Jolie's
powerful
character,
guys and
Richard
the
Madden's
thinker
characters,
guys.
And the others were sitting in the ship and they were
Thinking.
Thinking, healing, stuff like that.
Creating
that
plows
was
for us.
cool because plows. That's a big point. And atom bombs eventually. The thinker guys, I thought they were gonna have the role of thinker guys throughout the whole movie because they didn't have any weapons. What the hell is the point if you can both fight and think? And why are they sitting in the ship then? And at the end of the movie, everyone just goes out and fights. So the fastest guy's character was shown to us as the thinker. He sits and he makes plows for I don't know, Babylonian people.
No, he wanted to make an engine.
Yeah, engine, right. But Ajax shot down and they instead made plows.
That's
okay.
the thing.
Again, as we said before, this story is about how Earth and humanity is worth saving, how they have the spirit of freedom inside their hearts. But the whole thing that the Eternals are doing throughout the movie, they're involving themselves in the evolution of this planet's society, technology, people. I'm not saying they shouldn't defeat deviants because Arishem presents them as an extinction level threat.
But that's the thing. Arishem created those deviants according to him.
Yeah.
And there was
it's
a
supposed
problem.
to be like the god, one of the gods of the
Celestials.
Celestials of the Marvel universe. With each one having their own tasks. He's supposed to be the judge who judges the worthiness of whether a planet should stay or not stay or should be destroyed.
And then he created deviants.
Yeah, he created deviants.
And deviants are have like a glitchy, buggy code apparently.
Yeah,
and he cannot do anything about that.
How are Eternals not questioning their supposed gods' morals or ideals if he sends? Are they dogs or something? I don't know. They're animalistic, let's say.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's
they're
like
initially
least
sent
memorable
to,
design for a villain.
They're initially sent to purge the planets, but instead they develop predatorial instincts. No. Let me take that back. They're sent to planets to destroy the predators, but instead become predators themselves or something like that.
They start updating.
Yes, they start mutating and growing wings and stuff.
But that's the thing. Like
this again ties back to the point that the Eternals' philosophy of non-interference, where they're sometimes saying that we should save people, but we get a scene in the with Spanish conquistas killing, I don't know, Incans or Mayans or something, and they're like standing again, standing around in cool suits, squinting and saying that we can't interfere. This is not what we do. But on the other hand, they go to Babylon and give them plows, and then eventually atom bombs. I don't know if they could have prevented atom bombs, because the whole point of the movie is that when the population of the Earth reaches a certain point, an egg that was planted millennia ago in the core of the Earth will hatch, and a great new celestial will come out, and he will create more planets. Okay, sure, whatever. But why is there the philosophy of non-interference so self-contradictory? So Fastos enabled, no, disabled the people from getting trains, which would cause, I don't know,
A little bit faster.
Yeah. The evolution of the planet will become a little faster, but he didn't prevent them from creating atom bombs, and then he cried about it, and then he said this planet isn't worth what?
No,
What happened?
That's the thing. Like this whole.
The idea
film,
was good, but the execution.
That's was what I was going for. Like this whole film has ideas going for something, but sometimes it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't create the potential that it has. It just introduces that idea, but it doesn't go. But and also this film, in my opinion, doesn't know what it wants to do with the things that it introduces. Like coming to the idea of Arishem, we are introduced to a lot of new characters. And
He looks cool though.
obviously, it looks cool.
Yeah.
Like the
Big giant, great giant with 6 eyes.
and at the end when he takes the Eternals, vroom,
Yeah.
he goes into a black hole.
Yeah,
That's it. Like the tier
The
list.
scenes with him are like
Even though-
again out of do not belong in this movie.
Obviously, he's shown
It's
like
epic.
this epic, but that's the thing. As I mentioned about the tier list, we don't know where he belongs in that tier list. Coming with the Eternals 2, coming with those deviants. In one scene, we see how Eternals are beating the shit out of deviants. Then we see Gilgamesh being strangled by a dog, then being drank by
Sucked
his
up,
energy.
yeah.
But that's the thing. Obviously, a lot of people will say that Gilgamesh were thinking about Athena, Angelina Jolie's character, but that's not the point.
Does that decrease his powers?
But-
Is he like sharing his powers with her? I don't understand that scene. at all.
That's not the point. The point is here.
It was just to create a false sense of like emotional loss.
Probably,
I mean,
I guess.
the scenes with Angelina Jolie and the Gilgamesh character,
Yeah,
Athena
yeah.
and Gilgamesh, they were kind of good. They represented like
Again,
the relationship between
a PTSD like soldier.
yeah, sick person and its caretaker. It was
Like again,
nice.
this plot point had potential,
Yeah,
and it
but-
was mumbled in this film.
I would have loved to see it reach its conclusion, but no. Instead, a dog killed Gilgamesh.
Yeah.
Apparently, the strongest.
From what I get, you're just pissed off that they killed Gilgamesh.
Yeah. But he was supposed to be the strongest, but then again, in the movie, they say that Athena is the strongest. She's the goddess of war, and then they say that Icarus is strongest. I
Yeah,
don't know. The
yeah.
movie doesn't know who's strong and who's not.
That's the thing. It doesn't know its own tier list. That's
Yeah.
the thing, and it expects us to
Yeah.
have an appreciation of that character.
Icarus says he's the cool, he's the best, he's the strongest.
And this is getting beat up by Fastos.
Yeah. he gets beaten up by everybody, except Druig, because Druig's powers are a little bit past on the
I think,
passive side.
for example, the Druig's character, they could have shown him try to control Icarus. That will be an interesting part to see.
Yeah.
And also, Icarus get his ass beaten by Makari, which...
Again, he's supposed to be the strongest character, and he gets beaten up by a girl who.
I
runs
think,
fast.
let me just say one thing about Makari as a character. I really like that character because, first of all, Makari is played by a deaf actress. The character itself was deaf.
The portrait was nice.
Yeah, the sign language and how the characters cared about her to do the sign language with her. And
So surprisingly, or let's say unsurprisingly, one of the most fun characters in movies
Had,
deaf.
like,
He can't talk. She doesn't have any lines except sign language.
Again, I think like the pushing of this character to be in this film was a director's idea, in my opinion.
Yeah.
One thing that I will say about this character, I think she had the best speedster fight scene that we've seen.
Yeah,
Let us say
I mean
that.
the actors came out like 2 days ago and said that my character is faster than Flash. And
We could disagree on that.
that got
But like
about-
in a cinematic sense,
Yeah.
like we had Quicksilver, his memorable scenes from Days of the Future Past and Apocalypse. There are not action scenes; they're just memorable, funny scenes. We had Quicksilver in Age of Ultron, whose action scenes was kind of good.
Yeah.
Like the props to the actor and props to the VFX department how they shot his action scenes. There was Flash in Justice League, and there was also Flash in the Snyder's Cut. Flash's whole scene was obviously one of people's favorite scenes, but again, he didn't have an action scene. With Makari, we saw how a speedster fight scene could have been done, and it has been done. And
I mean, we had the all-time favorite tornado scene where she runs around another character and the dust storm.
How you could have a speedster and don't have it run
you have a fast
tornado
character,
scene.
you must make him run circles around.
But I think that overall it was well. So let us conclude with our last opinions.
Let's give our ratings on this movie.
Really, ratings? Do we need ratings?
Yeah. Let's give ratings. Out of 100, what's your opinion?
I will say I'll give it like a sharp 65.
Yeah, I agree. 60, 65. That's the highest I can.
That's the thing. Now a lot of people are just saying that this is the worst reviewed Marvel film, like from Rotten Tomatoes. The last time I checked, it was 48. It is now Rotten. It's like the how much was the Dark World? I think it was 64, 63, something like that. It doesn't deserve this.
Yeah, it's not like 40 levels.
No, it's not the worst film. Obviously, it's not a worst film, but it is not the best film. It's not like a Civil War. It's not Infinity War. It is not those films. That's the thing. My thought about this whole film is just could have been better. It's a little bit messy, but there is something that is.
I too wouldn't want this movie to be remembered as the
bad
lowest rated Marvel movie.
Because it's not.
I reserve that honorary spot for Thor: Dark World. Yeah, but again, there is a divide between fans and critics in sense of rating.
Yeah.
Both are wrong. It's not an 80 movie, and it's not a 49 or something movie. It's a solid 60, 65.
But that's the thing. Like I've read a lot online that a lot of people like this film. Good for them. Good for them that they find the specific parts they can love about it. Good parts. But one thing that I remember before going to cinema, I thought that will I love this film more than Shang-Chi, because I love that film. Like, we could have talked about it too, but
one of two recent Marvel movies.
Yeah. So I think that this film will get a little bit. I don't know. I'm taking out of a bag that I think this will get a cult following out of all the Marvel films.
Yeah, good for them.
Like as if like so bad that it's so good.
But I personally wouldn't watch it again.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll probably gonna rewatch it. Yeah. Like I really love these parts. So thank you for listening to our discussion. Hopefully this won't be the last one. Take care.